There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yayo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonko table. That is the voice of Grandmaster Hoop coming at you during the hour of the bat to talk about episode 7 of House of the Dragon. That's right, House of the Dragon, the hit spinoff of Game of Thrones, set 170 years in the past to chronicle the Targaryens in the House of the Dragon. We're here on episode 7, which, goodness gracious, another good episode in a series of good episodes. Game of Thrones proper. Goodness, it just doesn't stop, and it's a lot of good stuff happening here. With me, as always, is Dr. Jay Saturni, fellow Yonko. Dr. Jay Saturni, despite our hassle of trying to actually watch this episode, are you satisfied with the proceedings?
I am very satisfied. In typical Game of Thrones fashion, the best episodes are the ones that are very messy. Not in its storytelling, not in its writing, but in what's happening on screen. It's one little action caused a good portion, like 30 to 40 minutes of quality content. We got families pitting each other against one another, mothers wanting to claim eyes of children across the room, people getting stab. I mean, there's a lot. There is one major glaring flaw I have with the episode. And I think it's just honestly a missed opportunity. To me, it's a plot hole. It's a major plot hole. And in a way, it kind of takes away from what I really liked in this episode, because I liked a lot. But then when this portion comes in, I'm like, but how did the rest of this happen? We'll get into it. We'll get into the specifics of that. But overall, I think the episode was very enjoyable. A good subsequent episode from last week, because we really enjoyed last week's episode as well. So this one was also following suit.
Yes, I listened to y'all's recording of last week. I am upset I was not in attendance, but that's okay. Y'all did your thing. Y'all held it down. But goodness, I didn't realize I had so much to say. But hey, we're here for this week. But we are never alone on our journey. Let's hear which great supernova who's been consistently coming on to deep dive. But granted, she said something that I was like, I wish she didn't say that last week. But we'll get into it. But let's hear who's joining us tonight. All right. House of the Dragon, episode 7. I did not catch the name of the episode, but that is
Driftmark.
Okay. Oh, it's called Driftmark.
It's called Driftmark.
Well, that's fitting. The whole thing took place in Driftmark.
Hypothetical, if you had to miss an episode, either this week's or last week's, which one would you have preferred?
I definitely would have probably been okay missing probably this week, just because last week was kind of the
introduction.
Again, it's like a reintroduction, right? Almost.
Okay, I was curious.
To me, it almost felt like a whole new season, kind of. But I mean, not to say anything against Driftmark. This episode, I think a lot transpired, and it was good stuff. And it's just heating up. Things are just continuously heating up, and it's like, what else could go wrong? Or like, how can these people just stay a family? Because everyone around them is trying to not make them be a family. So it really just kind of sucks to be in the House of the Dragon. Game of Thrones, I can't really recall too many funerals. I remember the Lord Tully, they had his funeral, and his son kept missing the casket when they were trying to set it aflame.
Oh, okay, right. I remember that one.
Yes, there was that. I really can't remember too many other funerals. There's been some pyres and whatnot.
There've been like bodies we've acknowledged death and seen like the body. As far as who was it? Was it what's his name? Tywin?
Oh, did Tywin get a funeral? Yeah, I guess he did, huh? They put the eyes on him.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, that's right. That's right. He did get one.
Yeah. It's just this time around, I don't know. I really like Driftmark. I really like kind of this culture they got going on here.
I like the ceremony for the death.
Right, the ceremony. It was very nice. I mean, it sucks to see the Lady Lena tossed back into the sea. We barely knew thee. And really this funeral was just a catalyst for what else could go wrong. Can't y'all just mourn Lady Lena?
No.
It's
a game, baby. 24/7, 7 days a week.
She just died. Come on. But I will say this, before we really get into it, I think there's a quote that definitely kind of, I don't know, sets the tone. I mean, when you think about just Game of Thrones in general, but I really think it works for this episode as well. History does not remember blood. It remembers names. And I feel you remember the names versus who actually is blood to who or whatever.
Okay, Sir Corlys.
Yes, I like Sir Corlys. I just felt that's a really good quote, just on a kind of overall encompassing. There was a lot of blood, I think, symbolism here going on. Blood as in, actual blood, and then bloodlines, and it just, and the names are a big part. Okay, let's get into this. So the funeral, goodbye, Lady Lena. Everybody is feeling some type of way about the death. Obviously, some people don't even care to be here.
What, like Aegon, right? Isn't he yawning? He's yawning?
I don't think that side of the family truly cares about that side of the family.
By that side, as in Viserys and Alicent's side?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Daemon is their direct tie to the House Velaryon.
Okay.
So clearly they don't want to be there. But what I really enjoyed, I truly believe Rhaenyra's children and Daemon's children are very close because, they share, Laenor and Laena, and you can see kind of it's building this division, line in the sand. They look like they're mourning. Laenor, goodness gracious.
He's upset.
He's lost. He's just about done, and he's got nothing left going for him. I don't know. He can't produce children. He lost his sister, and he lost Joffrey. This guy, it just kind of sucks for him. It sucks for Corlys. Sucks for Rhaenys. Just lost their daughter. It's kind of sad.
Right. And then, I mean, it gets even worse for them towards the end.
It does get worse for them.
But it's just a lot of death in this episode. A lot of death, a lot of loss of body parts.
Yes.
It's a lot. It's an episode filled with loss.
And it's just interesting because all this loss, and I feel you just got some people who don't care about What's going on?
Well, like
Dude,
Damon chuckling in the corner, like
I don't think Allison cares to be here. I think, she's over here just like, look at those bastards over there mourning. That's not even their actual uncle or actual aunt.
why are they pretending?
Right. They know that's not their blood.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Yeah.
Corliss came. Oh, go ahead.
No. It was just that. It was Allison was just eyeballing the kids. Viserys is just stumbling everywhere. Yeah, and Damon's just having a chuckle to himself. I'm surprised they didn't do anything to Damon for just like dropping a few laughs during that sermon. You know, the thing with like the salt is thicker, and he just starts laughing like, bro, I get it.
I think he's everybody mourns in their own way. I mean, he
Right.
says it later on. They were happy. I don't think that's what he really wanted, but he was indeed happy.
He was content.
He was content. Yes.
I think he was amused too because the speech that was given at the funeral by Corliss's brother, I think, was kind of a knock towards Rhaenyra,
Yeah.
because he was definitely looking directly at her, and I think Daemon was amused just by the mess. I would say more so than his response to Lena. I think it's the circumstances of bringing all these people that clearly don't like each other all together and seeing what occurs, which clearly nothing good.
Nothing good. Everybody has a kind of perspective on this. I think it was Jacaerys. He's the youngest, the middle child, right, of Rhaenyra.
Mm-mm.
Jacaerys. No, Jacaerys is the
Jacaerys is the oldest.
Oh, Jacaerys.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lucerys.
Luke is
Right.
the second oldest.
So Corlys goes up to him and he's like, hey, grandson, Driftmark is going to be yours one day.
I don't want it. Leave me alone. I'm just a kid.
Oh, what a famous Game of Thrones quote. I don't want it. Jon Snow, season 8. I don't want it. But
want the throne.
who's this? Lucerys gives a great reason because he says this, I am to be the heir or, to be the Lord of Driftmark. That means everyone will have died. That really sucks.
And that's a kid. That's from a
that's a
kid's
kid.
perspective.
He gets it.
He gets it.
Right. And
That's upsetting.
I feel some of these kids, they don't get it. He gets it. I like that. But it's also this crazy, nobody's an idiot here. Everybody knows. There's no way Corlys looks at these children and like, oh, these are my grandkids. These are my grandkids.
That's Laenor's kids. They're my grandbabies.
My son, he did the deed. He got his feet of goose.
He knows. I mean, and that even comes up in his conversation with
Rhaenys.
Rhaenys. Yes.
Yes.
The whole thing. I mean, she keeps trying to convince him, like, let Driftmark go to your actual blood. Like, what's all this mess about, having it passed on to those kids that are clearly not yours? And that's where that quote comes in that you like so much. The history remembers names. It doesn't matter if they're not his kids, they have his name. His name is attached to them, and history is going to remember them for whatever deeds they commit off the throne or on the throne.
And, I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that I guess Viserys does this too. They really look past it, They're like, okay, so
he knows. He knows.
He knows. Laenor didn't sire these children, but it doesn't matter, They're just like, Viserys is like, that's Rhaenyra's children. I love Rhaenyra, so I'm gonna love those children. But he's trying to avoid that rule. Corlys is looking at him. He's like, they were birthed with my name. They're mine. That's my
Right.
name over blood. Name over blood.
Wild.
And at least for, I don't know, as so much as for Corlys, at least for Viserys, I get we've talked over the last, since the start, about his ruling style. and have frequently criticized his like unwillingness to act sooner than we care for him to. And I think this feels like another, like, how can I just try to maintain peace? It's not, clearly, it is not maintaining peace. But I think from his perspective is if we could just like ignore what I clearly see in front of me, we can maybe just move forward and try to get along. I think he's so about like trying to get people to work when they're clearly not working. But what can I do to and it feels like very reminiscent of like his king style of like, okay, the stepstones, gonna try not, gonna not get into war and be involved in fighting. You know, I inherited a kingdom that was kind of from someone who led us into peace and maintained that peace. And how can I continue to do some of that? And it's like all falling apart around him, and he's similar to him falling apart himself.
Ooh.
But it's like, you know, what can I do just to keep going? And clearly he is not well. Clearly the relationships amongst him are not well. But, you know, people try to believe that they can to survive. You know, it doesn't exactly mean it's going to work, though. And it's clear.
He's very much, let me sweep it under the rug. Little does he know that pile is getting bigger and bigger every time he does it.
Like,
and
It's worse than this episode.
like a big mountain. Right
I would say this episode, feels like a culmination of kind of these bad decisions and like, again, ignoring what's in front of him. Otto Hightower's back.
Yay! He's the hand of the king, baby.
I guess. I like Daemon's quote. Daemon gives him one good liner that I'm like, you nailed it, Daemon. That's it.
That's literally what he is. That's what he is. No matter how fat the leech gets, it will still hunger for more.
No matter how fat the leech grows, it always wants for another meal.
Okay.
Yes. So
he
back, baby. Out here being a leech. I get all the players are here. Kristen Cole's here. I think he makes one mean comment about everything.
What did he say?
I don't remember what he says. I know he notices Laris over in the corner. He's like, Sir Harwin Strong's brother has been staring at you this whole time. You know?
Oh yeah. He did say
because I guess he doesn't know he's in it. He's in the inner circle, but he's not in that inner circle.
Right. He was fairly tame this episode. I mean,
he was
compared to last week.
He had a moment. He almost broke. He was ready to go.
He was, yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to get to that. But I was like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. He's like, no, I won't.
I think you got a lot of characters itching here at this funeral. Laris is over here. He's like, hey, Allison, just say the word. I'm ready for whatever you want me to do. I just killed my brother and father. Like, if you don't, I don't know how he's ready. Everybody's itching. Everybody's itching. Right. Rhaenyra making eye contact with Daemon. She's itching. Everybody's itching. It is a funeral, and it feels like nobody's here for who actually died. It sucks. But
oh my god, yeah, it's not even about her.
No
one's there. Wow.
No.
I mean, the most you have is like the kids, Jacaerys and Lucerys. They try to comfort
their cousins.
Their cousins, yeah.
And that was a very nice scene. That was very nice. Baela and I don't know the other one's name.
Yeah, I forgot the other twin's name.
Baela. Yeah, actually, Baela was the only one that I remember.
Yes.
Baela, but the kids.
Lady Baela and Rhaena. Baela and Rhaena. Yes.
They just have the same. Lucerys, Jacaerys, Beta.
I feel they're not the most clever with these names. Is either the A, the Vis, the Rear, the Val.
Yes.
They're not too creative. It's fine. It's whatever. But again, it's nice to see those kids comforting, given that we know these kids are gonna probably come to blows. Maybe not these kids, but we already seen a tidbit of these kids and their quarreling and how that will eventually turn into something more. But I think if anything, that the midday funeral proceedings, I think closes with Viserys again. Like we said, he's not in good health. He's like, I'm going to bed, Emma. And I was like, oh damn.
We're all going to bed. We're gonna wake up in the morning so happy.
I just Allison's face, and yeah, with that particular scene where he had mistaked her for his previous wife, because I think he just finished a conversation with Damon about kind of grief and loss, and
oh, he referred to her as Emma.
Yes,
Yeah.
he called him.
Oh
he called
my
her Emma.
God.
Yes,
It's a blink and you miss it. Because I was wondering, like, wait, why is she mad? Why is she upset right here? And I just kept watching. Wow! Oh my God, that's
man,
terrible.
You missed that. Yeah, man,
I missed it.
man.
Yeah, I should have hit rewind. I was just like, oh, it was probably nothing.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, it was
Wow.
something.
Goodness.
Sir
Okay.
Harold tried to save the moment. He was like, he like says something like Queen Alicent. He doesn't even notice he made a mistake. He just keeps it
Wow.
moving. But yeah, then we I think that's it for like the daytime proceedings.
That is it. It shifts
you know,
to night, and
it
the
shifts
deeds.
to night.
The deeds are committed.
Well, yes, deeds are happening. I want to go back to that conversation though with Rhaenys and Corlys, which was another good conversation. These two have really good conversations.
I like them.
I do like them. They are a good couple. They actually, I don't know. They seem like they actually have love and they understand what's going on. But I like Rhaenys, and she calls Corlys on his bull, you know, saying as how, you know, yes, technically your heirs one of them will be on the throne, but you know, this is just all for your ambition, you know?
I just want to do it for you, baby. You didn't get the crown. This is for you. No, it's not. No,
And
it's
she's
not.
like, she's like, it's okay that you're You're ambitious. Everybody here is ambitious. Just, you know, what is that saying? If you see a spade, call a spade. I don't think that's how that saying goes.
The meaning gets across.
If
That's
it
what
walks
matters.
like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It's a duck. It's okay to have ambition, but don't try to make this about me, that you're doing this for me. You know, the women of this series are always second to everyone, no matter how they try to spin it or, you know, try to show support. It is what it is. These men are overly ambitious and they have all ulterior motives. Everyone's got a game they're playing. And she's like, can we just mourn our daughter? Like, can you relax about your legacy?
Can we forget them
Please.
kids? Them kids that ain't ours?
Right. Look, I honestly, oh God, it does not take a anatomy expert. Look at Daemon and Laena's children. Look at Rhaenyra and Laenor's children. Ain't not a single ounce of melanin on those two boys whatsoever. Their hair didn't even come out white. It is plain as day. They called them plain featured last week.
That they
Them
did.
boys plain featured. Open your eyes, Corlys. But then, of course, we get that beautiful line. It's about the name.
It felt very reminiscent of, as he was discussing legacy of, wasn't Tywin's very first scene in Game of Thrones a discussion about legacy?
I think
In
he had
the
something
original
like that.
series,
Yeah.
I think so.
he was cutting the
Cutting the pig,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Or cutting the
Yeah.
deer, whatever it was. Yes.
whatever.
It was in the
animal
camp.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Talking
he
to
was
Jamie,
discussing,
right.
Yep.
Yeah, legacy, and it just reminded me a lot of that, where I think different characters have different ideas about what that means and what that looks like for them, and so I had nothing more to say beyond it. Just reminded me of that and how, you know, sometimes ambition can get ahead of you.
Actually, now that you mentioned that, there's another scene that I think kind of harkens, is that the word, harkens to season one, which I'll get there. I feel there's a lot of bits that are very reminiscent of season one of Game of Thrones, which is arguably one of the better seasons ever of Game of
Ooh.
Thrones. Yeah, of course. Season
Ooh.
1 did it good. So yeah, that
Okay.
again, that talk of legacy is big. It carries a lot of weight with a lot of characters, you know. So but yeah, some people just, it's about the name over actual blood at this point.
Right.
All right, deed number 1, nighttime deeds number 1.
Can we, before we
Rhaenyra.
get into that, can I
Sure,
just say,
sure.
I had to turn off every single light. I couldn't see nothing.
It's very dark.
It is very dark, and maybe that was
It's
intentional. Maybe that was intentional. They knew what they were doing.
That's all I had to say. Is I had to, every single light, had to turn it off and really squint.
I watch it in the dark, but again, episode 3 was super dark. This was very
Yeah.
dark. I mean,
Give it a little
thematically,
light.
I think yes, they could have. I don't know. It could have been a full moon. Goodness, can you just throw some light?
Anyway, I just wanted to throw it. Please, Game of Thrones, go.
Maybe
fix the light.
thematically, it's meant to be.
I don't care about the theme. I don't.
People
Well-
are doing this at the cover of night behind people's
Yes.
backs.
I was gonna say the cover of night.
Besides the Rhaenyra and Daemon stuff, we got another deed in the Cloak of Night going on as well. But yeah, Rhaenyra and Daemon, they're having their talk on the beach. They like
Yeah.
walking. Rhaenyra likes walking on beaches.
She did walk with Lenore way back
Right.
when on the beach. Yeah.
I like goose, you like duck, or vice versa. I don't know which was the goose one, but
It's funnier to say Lenore likes duck.
duck. Oh, okay. Lenore
Yes.
likes duck.
But again, it's been 10 years since they've seen each other.
10 years.
10 years. She feels abandoned. She felt like he left her, which he, I guess, did. But I think it's nice that they recognize, Sir Harwin gave her that pleasure, that desire that Daemon introduced her to. And, she was content with that. Of course, given everything, it still wasn't enough because he could never openly say those are my children. She asked if he was happy. They actually genuinely care about each other in this weird, fucked up Targaryen way. So this would be like, but did you love her though? Did you love her, uncle? Did you love her like you love me, uncle? I'm your niece, damn it. I mean, technically that's his second cousin. God, what a weird world. Game of Thrones. But yeah, it culminates. Finally, he got it up.
Hooray. They did it.
I mean, thematically speaking, it's big because this is step 1 of their alliance. It is what is it? Consummate the marriage. They're not married, but they consummated for sure.
Right.
Is that the word? Consummate?
Yeah.
It is.
You're
Okay,
on the right
cool.
track.
Cool. Yeah, he's there for her. I will see the lengths that he'll go for her later on in the episode, but
You can never get a good read on him. You never know what he's thinking.
you really don't.
I think it's genuine. I think he does care for Rhaenyra. You've seen this as far back as episode 1, where he's very creepily putting on the necklace in the throne room in episode 1. And we've seen it in other episodes too. But I think what he had with the Lady Lena was genuine, as he mentioned. There was a love there. But it was not the love that he desired. I think Rhaenyra, for however long, he desired her the most. And I think from here on out, we're gonna see probably Daemon at his best, I guess. Because I feel like this is kind of what he wants. And now that he has what he wants to a degree, he's probably gonna do whatever he can to protect it in case it gets trying to taken away from him. So
running away to Pentos was him being able to be okay with his life.
right.
But now Rhaenyra's back in his life, so he's back in it.
Right.
Unavoidable at this point. They talk about depravity. I like their talk of depravity. I think low key, she knows he killed homegirl Royce. Low key.
Oh, the one from
his first wife.
First wife. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Right.
And that was interesting that she alluded to that, because given what happens at the end of this episode, you know, it was kind of like, what lengths will some people go? What will we do for each other? You know, this has all been leading up to this. And, you know, and again, they also talk about Alicent and whether or not Alicent had a hand in killing Sir Harwin as well. And he basically says everyone is capable of depravity. Like, do not think that like people are saints.
Right.
I think it was really good that he pointed that out. He's like, I'm bad, people are bad. All people are bad. Or all people are capable of great bad.
And it was on full display all night.
And then sometimes you're gonna have to, like, if you want something, you got to be willing to go get it, no matter what.
Kind of a theme of the show too. I mean, I know George R.R. had mentioned the intent was everyone was not going to be great at some point along the way. So it feels like that particular piece of dialogue is very reminiscent of that people are going to stoop to very, very low levels at some point. And we've seen some of that. So.
Right. And again, it's Daemon. He teaches Rhaenyra a lot. I think this was kind of another eye-opening moment for her to really, you know, if you want that crown, if you want to be the heir, you're gonna have to sink a little low, just like the rest of us. And they sunk into the sand.
Wow.
Sunk into other places too.
Yeah, sure did.
And he finished. Finally.
He finished.
For better or worse.
For better or worse. I mean, I don't know if this is going to result in a baby, but I don't know. I don't know how the pullout game is in Westeros.
I don't think there's a pullout game in Game of Thrones. I think it's you do it, you get in a baby. Unless you got that special tea from the Grand Maester.
I don't think that tea was. That's not how they do things at Driftmark.
There was a Sir Kristen Cole baby at some point, and that tea got rid of that baby. But every other time you're gonna get a baby, so there's probably a baby now.
I think she wants a Daemon baby, so I think she'd be okay.
She would be 100% okay.
Yes.
But
all right,
there's another deed going on.
Deed number 2. Okay, I like Aemon.
You like him?
Until the rest of this episode.
Okay.
I felt bad for him. He was being picked on.
I will say a piece that we forgot to mention about the daylight time was it involves Aemon, so if we're going to bring it up, was the conversation between Aegon and Aemon about Helena, who I do have a theory about. As far as like, I know last week we talked about our potential theory of like, is Laris like a green seer or magical in some way? I'm certainly curious about her as well. She gives
playing
me like
with the spider.
Some Luna Lovegood vibes.
Mm-hmm.
As far as very much being very in her head, some of the things that she's saying, she was repeating. I can't recall the specific dialogue, but like green and black was said multiple times. So I'm certainly curious about her, whether she has any sight.
She's just in her own little world.
Well, interesting. Yeah. They definitely play it like she's in her own little world. She's in one scene, and I don't think we see her again.
Just like last week as well. She's in one scene, and that's it.
And they pointed out, as you said, that she's a little weird. She's a little strange.
And there's stuff that she said last week. I won't get into it, but I think feels very connected to stuff which is why it brings up some theories of like, does she have some type of sight, some type of magic? Because I know this is 170, like you mentioned at the very start, years before the original series where there was less magic. So the hope was because there's more dragons, that there's something kind of going on here. So it's something I found interesting. It's just her in her own little world and some of the things she was saying. But
Right.
another really important piece is Aegon and her are betrothed.
Aegon and Helena are betrothed.
Hmm. That's what Aemon and
Ew.
Aegon were talking about. Hmm.
Wait,
Right.
Aegon's the eldest son.
Yes.
He's betrothed to the eldest
His-
daughter.
His sister, his own sister.
Oh, okay. Wait,
Yeah,
his
that's-
own sister. His
Yes, they're
Yes.
all
Wow, really?
Yes.
Oh my god, ew.
Yeah,
What?
and
Right.
that was the conversation that was being had between Aegon and Aemond. Was Aegon was basically talking down on her, saying like, "I can't believe we have to get married," basically, and Aemond's like, "Well, I would do my duty."
Oh, okay. I remember that
That's-
conversation. I for some reason I thought he was bringing it up as like a hypothetical, like what if
No,
we had to
no,
marry our
it's
sister?
real.
Wow.
I thought it was a
okay.
hypothetical too, because I know,
No.
Rhaenyra last week had that proposal about Helena and was that off screen? The betrothal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh god,
But
I
they-
hate that. This
they are
off-screen
betrothed.
stuff.
But the reason why I also bring it up is it gives you kind of an insight on the differences between Aegon and Aemond, personality-wise, and how they consider kind of their roles. I think we
Mhm.
saw kind of multiple instances of Aegon being reprimanded for being very much like irresponsible and kind of doing things that are not becoming of a prince, and then in the Green's eyes, the heir to the throne. And so he's drinking a lot, out here, on the steps, chasing after women, all of this. And Aemon seems very much more focused, which I think will then lead us to, I imagine, what Grandmaster is about to talk about in terms of his nightly deed.
Well, even in the daytime too, he saw Vhagar flying above the clouds.
That's
and-
mine.
Not that it was. I don't think he's like, oh,
No,
that's
not
mine.
yet, not
but
yet.
I definitely think in his head, there's a dragon who's now riderless, and it's the biggest dragon.
It is the
something-
biggest dragon.
The biggest, the oldest, and that is the original dragon from the Conquerors. I can't remember which sister rode Vhagar, but one of the initial sisters from Aegon and his two sisters.
Aegon
That
the
is the-
Conqueror.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Vhagar
Oh,
is the
really?
original. Yeah. That's why it's a big deal.
Oh, I just thought Vhagar was just super big.
So
No,
I
no.
saw people raising that in regards to like last week's episode, that they had a minor problem with it, where it's like it's really cool that Lena somehow got this dragon, who is the biggest dragon out of all of them, but I guess they wanted to see how she got this dragon, because now it has even more importance, because I didn't even know that this was from Aegon the Conqueror. So if it's that old, it's like you have to show how Lena got that dragon. Like that's huge. And she rode it. She knew like everything about Vhagar. It was tamed under her. She had
Well, the
total
important thing
control
to
over it.
know is she actually did it. They never.
she didn't?
They never bonded.
Oh, they didn't.
So,
Okay,
they
well,
never actually officially bonded.
what requires
that's
the
not-
bond? Is it the Actually, yeah.
So
What?
Don't
that
don't
is
you have to-
above my knowledge. But all I
Okay.
know is like specifically they actually, which is why it was such a big deal, is yes, he was with her. They never officially bonded, which is what made things last week even more tragic. But yeah, they were never actually officially bonded.
But she
Okay.
was his rider, though.
Yes,
Yes.
he was
Okay.
his rider, not in the way like Daenerys was with hers, or like some of the writers that we see in the show were.
Right.
Like where
right.
not only they were a writer, but they were also bonded.
So
But that's not the case. Yeah.
Aegon is essentially like a giant trophy for anyone who can.
Yeah, Vhagar is a huge deal. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. I did not know that. That's even more interesting. Just he's a grand prize. He's not only the biggest.
He's got history.
He's got history. He's the oldest. He's probably the wisest of those dragons, I'm sure. Okay. And so Aemon goes on his little quest, finds him sleeping, wakes him up like a dummy. You gotta be brave. I ain't going up to Vhagar. You're crazy.
It's do or die. He's ready. He's like, well, if it kills me, it kills me. I got to do this.
I mean, Vagar was ready. Vagar said, "Excuse me,
Who?
can I help you?" He's like, "Oh, you're a Targaryen, Brad. All right, I'm going back to sleep." Tries again. "Excuse me." Like, I know y'all are like blood of the dragon, but you a punk ass bitch. Don't touch my blocks, okay? Let me Dracarys your ass real quick. And then Aemon grew a pair and La Kitty, Vagar, La Kitty.
Ah, the kitty.
Yes.
That means simmer down, boy.
exactly.
Okay.
And it worked.
He simmered down. I mean, it's just kind of weird that that's how they just easily tame, or I guess ride the dragon. Because he just kind of did that. Yeah, he said,
Well-
simmer down.
He simmered down, and then I think the ride was another test in itself.
It was an initiation.
It was an initiation. Vagar said, "All right, kid, if you can hang on, I'll let you ride."
Hang on to your seats.
And he tried to knock him off for sure.
Oh yeah, he was out of the saddle when they were going vertical.
That's click it or ticket, baby.
Click it or ticket.
He did not click it. I think I don't know. Aren't you supposed to tie that rope to you? Have it hold you down?
I think you're just supposed to hang on for dear life and position yourself appropriately on that thing. I mean, there's probably a process, because I'm sure, gravity and all that other stuff would genuinely force you off of the dragon, the force that it's going at that speed.
Right.
But
I imagine there's a liftoff process too. It's not
There
you don't
is.
just go straight up. Vagar went straight up.
exactly.
Yeah. But he did it. He did the thing.
And now it's
Oh.
his dragon
And okay, see, and again, I liked Aemon
up
until
until
this next point. Like, I really liked him. I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, cool. He stepped up and he got a dragon. But I never thought of Vagar. And now it makes perfect sense that Vagar is just kind of the dragon that gets passed along. Like, it's a great honor to be Vagar's rider. And Bela and Rhaena could have been next in line to ride Vagar. And here we go.
And that's why I wanted to share the context. Is like, it was not only the fact that their mother wrote that particular dragon, it's because Vagar is just a huge deal.
Yes.
And I think even Otto had named that a little later on in the episode too, that
He
we
did.
have Vagar on our side, which is a huge deal. So
Right. I mean, in a clash of dragons, I'm gonna put my money on Vagar.
Right. And I mean, Aemond is very proud of his deed. He's very proud.
Listen, he had a lot of okay.
He was on a
very
high.
hu-
He was on
He
a
was
high.
very humble before. He was on a high. He was, but I don't know. This was way too heated for me.
He finally had something to one up the people that were always messing with him. Because I mean, like you said in last week's episode, he was the victim in a lot of this bullying between his siblings and his half siblings. I don't know his relation to Alicent and Viserys's kids. I mean, what, cousins maybe?
Wait,
I don't know.
Whose kids?
yeah.
No, Aemon is Alicent's
Oh
son.
no, I never mind. I mixed up the kids. Aemon. I am talking about Aemon. I am talking about Aemon. He was getting bullied by his siblings and
bullied by his cousins. They're still
and his
cousins, whether
and his cousins.
Yeah.
Right.
There's-
And
well,
you
there's
would imagine they
technically his
probably went on for a
nephew.
long time.
Oh yeah, you're right. They are
They're
his
his
nephews.
nephews.
Right.
Oh, you see, this is why I was like, wait, so what's the relationship between
Yeah.
the
It's by his siblings and his
Okay.
nephews.
Rhaenyra and Daemon's kids are
I'm
cousins.
just gonna say that, yeah.
Aegon and Aemon and Helena are the aunt and uncles to Rhaenyra's kids.
Okay. just he's getting bullied. You know what's even worse? You're getting bullied by your nephews. Like,
I guess.
no. So he finally had it took Vagar, him conquering Vagar, to be like, yeah, nephews, take that. What are you gonna do now?
It is when you give a mouse, actually no, it's not.
Is it
when you give a,
are you doing the cookie? No.
Yeah, I am doing the cookie thing. It is
Wow.
not if you give a mouse a cookie. It is if you give that mouse Chips Ahoy company. You gave him the whole company.
You made
And
him
he
CEO.
They made him CEO. He's freaking Charlie in the chocolate factory. And you had no right. I did. I saw what I wanted and I took it. You got to, now he turned into a straight up asshole.
I mean, it sucks because it's funny that Jacaerys and Lucerys, through their, I guess they kind of bonded with Laena's daughters during the funeral.
They are closer.
They're closer now. And they're kind of on their side. They're like,
yes,
why'd you do that? That wasn't yours. And it wasn't his. It's one of those things where technically any Targaryen could have just walked up to that dragon and taken it, but out of the respect and the customs of the time, you're not supposed to do that. That's not yours.
And again, that's why I say nobody came to this funeral for Laena. It really sucks. Like her kids should have been first dibs. First dibs on trying to bond with Vagar. Now it's interesting because given it's Vagar, someone was probably going to do this later on down the line. I'm sure Otto Hightower probably had a plan to get one of his grandchildren to bond with Vagar, before Aemon did this, So it's unfortunate, but it's like it probably would have happened. Someone would have tried to overstep Laena's children and bond with Vagar. Like, not a doubt in my mind about that.
And this right here, like I like this because this is what snowballs into what happens later in this episode. But this right here does not get addressed in the episode at the end of the episode.
Mhm.
And that's my biggest problem with the episode.
Oh, that they didn't talk about how
did
he went
not,
and got Vagar?
They just let them go. And I call major BS on that because you're telling me Corlys is going to let Vagar just fly off with that Targaryen? Hell no. That was either just a misstep in the writing room or just complete ignorance. That to me was its greatest blemish. There is nothing you can write in that explains why they let, because again, it's like, the only solution you could say is, well, what are they gonna do? It's too late. The Aemond bonded, or not bonded, but I guess he's now the rider of Vagar. That's his dragon. They can't just say, no, put my daughter on the dragon and maybe it'll change his mind. It's done. It's done. It's too late. At the same time, though, he would have demanded some compensation. There's just,
or at least acknowledgement. I agree. That was the part
I needed that.
Yeah, I was upset about it. And I know the characters have their own motivations, and I think we're talking about how basically the entire episode really doesn't acknowledge Laena except for the very start, and then we're at her funeral, but it's not really about her type of situation. I think this really shines a light on that fact, because the fact her dragon was stolen, and
It was stolen.
and there was no acknowledgement with the parents as far as the scuffle they have. So I too was pretty upset about, like, okay, the original reason why this happened in the first place was because of the dragon and what it meant to the twins, and because there's that connection to Laena. So I felt pretty similar.
I felt
in terms of,
betrayed.
like, okay, come on.
I'm
Not gonna mention it.
I liked
like,
everything
briefly.
else, but this was a major omission.
I'm gonna say this: he is the king's son, so it's like that card
Show don't tell. Show
fair,
don't tell.
fair,
A
fair.
conversation between Viserys and Corlys would have been. I would have been fine with it. Quick, just make it be like, I don't care. I'm the king. I'm taking it. And then
Well,
bam.
Or even if one of the kids had even mentioned, because as the kids were speaking, they were focused on like, oh, this person started it, in terms of like then the violence that ensued. But like the kids didn't even mention it, and one of them could have said like, but he took the dragon. Like, so even some small acknowledgement of how this started in the first place would have felt helpful. But of course, I know that they ended up focusing more on kind of blood and status, etc. But I did feel like that piece was missing.
So interestingly enough, so gosh, okay, I'll bring it up later. But like everything that you're saying is making me think about that one scene from season 1 as to why, kind of how the injury is now more of the focus than the actual principle of what happened and what just transpired. I'll come back to it. Let's go back into the cave.
Yep.
Kids are fighting. Boom, boom,
Well,
boom, boom.
what? He's like, it's mine now. You sucks to suck. I think Bela
cry about
punches
it.
him,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
he
one of the
pushes.
girls.
He pushes one of them, and then
Right.
Bela comes and clocks him.
Yes.
Good job, Bela or
Had it
Rhaena,
coming.
who had it coming. And then what?
It just
well,
a fight
he-
ensued.
Well, he throws some words. He says, "Why do
Oh.
you care, you bastards?"
And that is treason.
That is, oh my. And see, I liked him, and then I'm like, okay, I get it. You're right. You went and got what you wanted. It was not right how you did it, but now he's lowballing. He punches a girl, and then he just called his nephews bastards, which is treason. But also he's trying to hurt them,
Right. He's
Like,
on
you
a
could've-
high. He's on a high.
Oh God, no, I don't like him. I don't
And
care.
that's when the fight ensues. They I like when they all like just what was it, like 4v1? Get him, get him, get him.
Why am I on the edge of my seat for this kid fight? Goodness gracious.
Because it's escalating. It's one of the most heinous acts that you can do, which is stealing of a dragon. And the adults are gonna get involved at some point, because he did not park that thing in the parking lane he was supposed to. He just slammed that sucker on the ground.
He made an announcement.
He made an announcement. The entire castle knows, like, okay, Vagar was just being flown in the air by someone. Someone's getting their hand chopped off or something. Someone's losing something.
If the fight didn't wake everybody up, Vagar landing right outside definitely woke everybody up. But man, he grabs that rock, and I was like, oh, come on, jeez, it is not that deep.
And he stopped himself
He
a couple
did.
times. He was like, I'm gonna do it. I got the rock. Don't make me do it. And then I think towards the end he got the rock again, and I think he was ready that time.
Well, they
right?
pulled out the knife. They pulled out the knife.
Right.
And he's like, oh, so it's like that. Okay. I'm gonna hold on to this rock here.
I ain't letting this go. This is
Right.
wild.
So wait, which one? Okay, I lost. I get confused.
It was so the one who ultimately cut him was Luke.
Luke is the
second oldest.
younger one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the younger brothers eventually clash like that. Okay,
Right.
and oh
Got his
man,
eye.
got his eye. I was like,
It was clean.
oh no, this is his villain story.
This is his
gonna be
origin
scarred.
story.
He's gonna be scarred on his eye.
Oh my god. What? He's gonna tell someone that, like, in the time skip, you want to know how I got these scars? Is that what you're expecting?
My nephew went off crazier than usual. He grabs a knife. I don't like that. Not one bit. So I grab a rock.
And I go
Let
like
me-
this.
Let me stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Oh my goodness. And oh my gosh, where is the knights on patrol?
Well, they came just in
Kristen
time.
Cole,
They came just
barely.
Well, no, okay, right? Where are the knights? Sir Kristen Cole, that came up in the conversation. Like once the adults came in, they're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, what the hell just happened?" Now everyone's tending to Aemon, stitching his what's left back together, and they raised that against Sir Kristen Cole. Yeah, I think it's Viserys. Viserys is like,
Yeah.
"What the hell? You guys are supposed to prevent this." And Kristen Cole's like, "How was I supposed to know that the family is going
He
at
said,
each
"I'd
other?"
never broke up a fight between princes."
Exactly. It's like that's not my job. Like how can I create a counter to that when that's not what's expected of me?
But where was he though?
He was probably on patrol outside somewhere. He's like, "Oh wow, look at that. Vagar just landed." Wow.
I don't know. I think that's a red flag. Where was he?
Where was everyone?
True.
I mean,
But-
I don't think it's too much to look into where Sir Kristen was. I think if you ask where Sir Kristen was, then you say, well, where was Viserys this whole
Where
time?
was Harold?
Where was
Is it
Harold?
Harold? Is that his name, Harold?
Whichever. The what? The one with the white beard?
Yes, Sir Harold.
yes.
Yes,
I
Sir
Right.
think it
Harold.
is Harold, yeah.
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 He got there right
He did
when
get
the
there.
deed was
He
done.
got there.
When
He
the
got
deed
there.
was done.
He got goodness.
And then the adults are brought in and it pops out.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And oh my gosh, the way they come in, because Rhaenyra and Daemon show up together. Nobody really notices except I think Otto Hightower. Otto Hightower is the only one who caught it. And they're like, oh, I was walking on the beach. Where's Lenore? Hello.
And you see that is a good point. It's like there's a lot of red flags about where you might have been, but I still believe them not questioning Rhaenyra in this instant, because right now it's not about her. Our prince just lost his eye.
Okay.
What the hell happened?
So do you remember the camp scene on the King's Road in season 1 of Game of Thrones, where Joffrey, with Joffrey, Arya, the
Arya.
butcher's boy, and
Sansa, the
Sansa.
wolf.
Oh, they kind of had a tussle a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Joffrey pulled
Yeah.
out his sword and
yes, and Arya still disarmed him.
right.
And then Nymeria comes and bites Joffrey.
Right,
Mhm.
the dire wolf or the wolf?
The dire,
Dire
her
wolf.
dire
Dire
wolf.
wolf.
Or
Yeah.
dire wolf, right?
Mhm. And they're taken before Robert, and it's the whole.
Oh wow, this is
started
very
it.
similar. Wow.
Oh, it's so.
Oh my
similar,
god,
but
I did not
it-
even realize that.
it is very different for a key reason. So it's like everyone's pointing fingers. Then eventually, whatever. Robert's
Lady
like,
dies.
yeah, they kill Lady. Because
Right.
Nymeria runs off, and they're like, they still have another wolf here. And he's like, get the girl a dog, Ned. Not a freaking wolf. But again, that was Cersei, who
Implored, like,
and,
was very
right,
much do it.
right, because it's like the boy will forever be scarred on his hand of all places.
Oh no.
But it was very much Cersei, was very adamant about there needs to be some kind of reprimanding going on. Be a
Right.
king, Robert. Here in this instance, Alicent very much, oh God, looking for any reason to put some hate on Rhaenyra,
and this was it. This was enough. My son
Look.
lost his eye.
my son lost his eye. I want an eye for an eye,
Well, before that,
Well, before it was how did this all started, right?
right? How
Mhm.
did this all? Viserys is demanding answers. Like, how did my son lose his eye? That's his son. I think that's what's so crazy about this. That is literally his son. And
I think honestly he forgets that those are his sons.
I forgot it to a degree because I'm like I know Aemon is related to Viserys, but I keep forgetting that is his flesh and blood. That's his son. He's asking him who did this, what happened, how did it all start, and that's when Aemon says, "Oh, someone said they called."
They whispered to Rhaenyra that they called us bastards.
But still, does Aemon?
Well,
Aemon's the one that
Rhaenyra-
says,
Well, no. The boys tell Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra says, "My sons were defending themselves."
"Okay, yeah." Right. And then she brings it up.
Words were thrown at them, and
Right.
This is kind of like the first time anyone has openly talked about it.
And it's coming from her too.
It's coming from her,
public.
and she's like in public,
and she's like, using it as she's using it as like an actual weapon.
She plays it off very well. Very well.
How dare they?
It's the highest form of treason. Yeah, they called my sons bastards. They're questioning the legitimacy of their father, and again, Viserys calls Alicent Emma early on in the episode. I really feel the majority of his love goes to Emma and anybody who was spawned from Emma, which is Rhaenyra,
right?
Because he's quick to be like, where'd you hear these rumors, boy? Who told you these rumors? And they're like looking around because they know it's Alicent, obviously.
And Aemon looks directly at her initially.
Yeah, he does.
And that's when you see him look, and he can't exactly call her out.
Because that's treason.
So,
Yep. So he picks the next best thing. He's like, well, I hate my brother. So it was Aegon.
Well, I think also he's just trying to get the the interrogation off of him.
It's the whole sibling bickering thing, like I'm clearly in the wrong here, but let me just blame my sibling for what just happened. Aegon,
they're not gonna get in as much trouble because Aegon's still a kid
right.
as well, and he's also Viserys' son. And then again, if it's a spade, it's a spade. I know that's not how that quote goes.
You're trying. That's what matters.
Aegon says what everybody's thinking. He's like, we all know it, father.
Well, he asked him, well, where did you hear it from? It's like a game of telephone. He's like, he first asked Aemon, where did you hear it? Oh, my brother told me. Then he goes to Aegon. Okay, well, where did you hear it? Dad, everyone knows.
He basically called his dad an idiot, too.
Yes. And he wasn't having it. He's like, nope, apologize. Let's go to bed. And
again, he's sweeping it under the rug.
And
and
that's why I'm like, that's your son that just lost his eye, and you're just telling your other kid whatever, just apologize to him and let's go. He was walking away like he was ready to go to bed. Just apologize and let's all go home. Alicent's like, what the hell? No, that is your son. He was maimed. Something needs to be done. And that's when the eye for an eye thing comes up. She's like, I demand something be done about this. I demand the eye of one of those kids right over there. And that's when I'm like, okay, Alicent's lost it.
She's going, she's going too far. Like, come on.
I will say I really appreciated the dialogue between Alicent and Rhaenyra in that moment. So of course it's the same knife. It's always that knife. I know they did it on purpose. I know they did it on purpose. So Alicent grabs, is it the cat's paw? Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yes.
The knife from Viserys' belt and tries to go at one of the kids, and Rhaenyra stops her. But I think over the last couple of weeks, we keep mentioning the differences between Rhaenyra and Alicent and how they've been impacted kind of by this society and what their roles look like and the impact that it's had on them. And we frequently brought up the fact that, Alicent has done everything that she's been told that she needs to do. And Rhaenyra has had, due to her station, has had a little bit more wiggle room. Like, she's still kind of did get married, did have kids. Did she get married and have kids in the way that people told her to or expected her to? Probably not. But there is still that difference. And Alicent, I think we finally saw the pot boil over as far as her saying, like, where is your suffering? Where is your duty? I've done everything that people keep telling me to do. I've been the one who's really stayed the course, and you've been able to do whatever you've wanted with no repercussions. And I think that's a lot of what we've been discussing so far about the differences between the two of them and the tension that builds is it, within that scene. So I really did appreciate some of that dialogue.
And
no,
I mean,
it's a great scene.
It's a great scene because Alicent, before she even makes an action to go for that that dagger on Viserys's belt, she exhausts her options first. She first says, as the queen, I demand one of those bastards' eyes. Everyone's like, no, we're not doing that, no. And next, she then looks to her sworn knight, Sir Criston Cole. Sir Criston, get that eye right over there. Go get it. And Criston Cole, I loved just the expression on Chris. I know he wanted to, but
he wanted to.
He looked around and he read the room. He's like,
I'm sworn to protect. Yeah.
I'm sworn to protect.
He's a man about honor, but
and at least because I was
killed Rhaenyra's kids at the drop of a dime.
I was half expecting him to almost like relish and like, oh well, my queen demands it. All right, I'm gonna go over there. But he didn't. He didn't do it. He's like, my queen, I can't do that. I'm not. That's not my duty. And more back and forth happens. And then when everyone's ready to like kind of disperse, that's when Alicent's like, hell no, and she goes for the dagger. That's when you get a clash with her and Rhaenyra. And I liked this sequence too, because everyone, like, it was almost like everyone's like in a lock right there, because they know, because you have a team Rhaenyra that's ready to protect Rhaenyra, and you have a team Alicent, and they all, Daemon's team Rhaenyra, Criston Cole's team Alicent, and everyone gets locked because they're like, if anyone puts their hands on either of these two, it's over. Like, immediately one's gonna stab the other one, or we're all gonna it's gonna be an endless brawl. So they all kind of just form that circle around them, and they're like, okay, let's just monitor the situation. They got a knife. If we cannot put our hands on them, because Daemon read the room. He's like, no, do not touch them, because he literally stopped Sir Criston Cole from getting any closer. I loved that engagement. That was supreme.
No, it was very well done. You talking about how the circle forms. The Velaryons are on Rhaenyra's side as well.
Targaryen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's their
grandchildren.
That's their grandchildren, right?
By name, that's their grandchildren.
By name.
See, and that's why I say like the whole blood versus name thing. Again, he doesn't care. He's gonna protect those kids too. And then I love Rhaenyra's exchange as far as now they all see who you really are.
Right.
And yeah, one part, it's very interesting. She says that because it's like, haha, bitch, I got you. I got away again, she's like the I don't know, the master thief who keeps getting away with things, and
the Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Yes. And Alicent is the over persistent police officer or detective that can't catch a break. She cuts her, and that pretty much ends it.
Right. It was a clean cut.
Very clean. Valyrian steel. Cut steel.
Okay.
But yeah, man, that what a scene. That was a very hot. I mean, well, Aemon put it best to kind of end things. He says, That's
Oh,
all right,
man.
mother.
Yes.
You know, I lost an eye, but I gained a dragon, and the prize was much greater than the loss.
I loved that line. I loved it. But it should have been followed up with Corlys saying, "What the hell are you talking about?" He should have beat that kid. I mean, no one was gonna let him, but that was the major omission that would have made all of this perfect. Because kind of like with I forget which episode it was, the one where I think it's Joffrey, Lenore's lover, that pointed out, oh yeah, look, Sir Kristen Cole, and there was that whole thing where we were going back and forth of like trying to figure out, well, is it too obvious that Joffrey knew just by telling, the knight without the helmet is the one that's looking at Rhaenyra, and that's the catalyst that causes the interesting stuff to happen, right? With this one, everything makes sense as to why it happens. It's just that ending result with Corlys and just the Valerians in general. They just kind of let
Valarians.
Valerians.
They're both of Valerian blood. It's a little
Yes.
confusing.
Well, Valerians, they just let him go. He literally diffused the situation by saying, "I got Vhagar," and it's like, Corlys, that was your moment. If not that, then the next morning, before they leave shore, there needed to be something said. And we didn't get that. And I swear to God, if we go on social media this coming week and one of these actors or actresses goes on and they're like, "Oh yeah, the Corlys and Viserys had a conversation off screen," and blah, blah, blah," I'm gonna be so freaking mad. I'm gonna be so pissed.
I am
I'm
sure
tired of
it's
this
going
happening
to.
every week.
I am sure it's going to come up again. I don't think. Again, they took the biggest dragon. I'm sure it's gonna be a talking point.
On screen is what you're saying. On screen.
On screen, I am
Okay.
positive
Okay.
it'll be talked about.
Okay.
Like, again, it's a big deal. So
It is a big deal. Very big.
So we get the aftermath. The world now sees Alicent. The world, including Otto Hightower.
Her father.
He is a proud daddy now.
I've never seen this side of you, Alicent. Ooh,
I question its existence.
you have a drive. Aemon paid a price that is worth 10 times over, 10,000s of times over. And good on Otto Hightower knows, like they won big. They won big with Vhagar. That's crazy.
I mean, Otto Hightower right there pretty much says, this is a win for Hightowers.
Mhm.
He ain't even worried about the Targaryen bloodline. So this is a win for us, girl.
Mhm.
Like,
And I think too that served to, because they had a conversation just about the game. He had a really good quote, but I can't recall what it is at this point. As they were discussing.
oh,
Well, Otto Hightower.
I only got
Yeah.
one bit of what he said. Yeah, but he did have a really good quote about the game.
Yeah, but basically just acknowledging the fact she was saying, like, I know what you're gonna say, and he's like, yeah, all that's true, but also the game is afoot, and we got to do what we got to do. We got a big prize from this.
It's an ugly
Apologize,
game.
grovel, do what you need to do. He'll forgive you. It's fine. But we're at a better place now because
Very.
they also, shine the light on Rhaenyra as well. Like they see her for who she is as well. Is why I think he said something similar to that to Alicent.
He basically says she's denying it, but we all know it's true. So it's like, don't worry, they might have saw that you're a little crazy, and they all think you're crazy now, but they know Rhaenyra's a liar, and only the good graces of her father are keeping her out of trouble.
Mhm.
He also tells her to keep a grip on your passions. So I liked that line. As far as we know how passionate you are about taking down Rhaenyra, you can channel that a little better. Let me help you. Welcome to the Otto Hightower School of Scum and Villainy.
I've been in this game a lot longer than you. I'll give
Right.
you tips and tricks. Some cheat
It's like,
codes.
are you finally ready to learn from me? I've been like, what do you think I've been doing before when y'all casted me out?
It only took you 10 years to realize it, but I'm here for it. I'm here. I'm ready.
I've been waiting for this day. Come on. Welcome to my school.
He's a proud daddy.
He's a very proud daddy. They're on their way back to King's Landing. Vhagar in tow. I think this is it for Viserys. I don't think he makes it. I don't think he's making it.
What? Like you think he's dying next episode?
Or he might be dead if there's a time skip. I don't think he can take it anymore. I think this is it for him.
Yeah, but we do get one more scene. That's
we get a couple. We get a couple more scenes. We do get
right.
Lenore, who's like, I should have been there. Duh.
He's never present.
We did get some insight though on their relationship, because I think a lot of the criticism last week, both we talked about it, and I think it was was like,
yes,
why didn't they try? She should have at least had the first kid that was his, and they gave us some insight that they did try.
They did try. They slept.
Right.
They laid together a couple of times.
Right.
And just something that didn't work out. So I really liked getting some insight on what their relationship looks like, because I think after last week, at least I'll speak for myself, there was a bit of like, okay, I see what you're doing here. Also, Laenor is not very present. I think he acknowledged that then in this episode, that I haven't really been a good husband. We made this deal. I haven't really fulfilled any of it. And there was a piece of dialogue that I think is going to connect to some of what the end showed us, as far as, if I had been different. And she had reiterated like, well, I don't believe that. Like, I don't think you should have been different. Like, you are.
That was nice. I like that.
Yes.
And it just, the circumstances were what they were. And I just really liked their dynamic and that like conversation. I think there was a lot of moments in which we just got to see people having a conversation that gave us an insight on different types of relationships, and that was one of them that I really liked.
I liked it. I liked the whole conversation. It's just, given how the episode ended, I was like, damn, he just committed to her, and she's just like,
kill him.
Well, there are two different pathways about what actually happened that I think will be really interesting to talk about with you all.
Sure.
But I guess maybe you should describe it first.
Okay, so what? He's committed to her, but now she runs to Daemon, and it's like, okay, hey, we just lost Vhagar. My claim is going to be challenged. I need you with me. Like, I want you with me. I want you. I need you. Be by my side. And he's like, well, if you want to get married, well, you can't get married. Laenor's alive. And he's like, unless he died, because I guess divorce is not a thing in Westeros.
No such thing.
No such thing. Not until King Louis VI, I think, does divorce not become a thing.
In an alternate timeline, yes.
In an alternate timeline, King Louis makes divorce a thing, praying to the weirwood tree. He's like, I don't want to be married to this girl. Either way, Rhaenyra, capable of depravity, is willing to kill Laenor to marry Daemon. And they concoct a plan, including Sir Carl, spelled weird with a Q.
With a Q.
Okay. Make it quick and painless with witnesses. And how'd you get into my father's hall? Right. He's like, you knew this was coming. Did I? No.
Did they have something together?
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Carl is his new lover.
Oh,
after Joffrey.
Okay.
Yes.
That was kind of, you knew this was coming? Like, what? Did I? Okay,
He's like,
now
you treat me terribly. I guess.
I don't.
Thor.
And they start clashing, yeah. And of course, you know, you get that. I guess the servant in the back, or not a servant. Didn't he walk in with Lenore? So it's a
Yeah, he walked in with Lenore. I think that's his squire or just somebody.
Yeah, he basically goes like, "I'll go get the gods," and he, you know, runs away. But before that, I guess Damon like just teleports behind someone with a kunai knife and just snaps their neck.
Who was that?
An NPC.
Here.
Oh, okay, no,
Okay.
not an NPC.
No, this is just my theory of like, I think there are a few different ways in which this ending. So the assumption is that Lenore dies. We see somebody who is in the fireplace, and they pull him out, and Rhaenys is crying. And we end with like the ceremony between Daemon and Rhaenyra. And then what we actually see at the very end is Carl get into a boat with another figure who puts back his hood, and there's a bald guy, and that is Lenore.
Yes.
Now, my question for you all, there really maybe two, I imagine there's probably more ideas about ways in which this could have gone. One, Rhaenyra and Daemon concocted this plan, had pulled Carl into it, and Carl decided last minute to tell Lenore what was happening, and they went off to Pentos together. Or Essos. Or do you think they pulled Lenore into the plan? And so this was
that guy who he
why
went
Daemon-
behind. Yes.
Yeah.
And the servant, whoever Daemon killed in the hall, was the one who was in the fire. And they pulled Lenore and let him know, here's what we're doing. You could be free, you know, to be with Carl out in Essos, do whatever y'all want. You could stay alive. But we just need you gone and to pretend like you're dead, because this is what we need to move forward with our little plan. Which one?
The latter. I took it as the latter. That
Okay.
initially going in, because it goes back to what Grandmaster Hoop was saying, where Rhaenyra seemed to be on board for like, you know, Lenore was basically saying, you deserve a better husband, so let's go about getting something like that done. And so I thought from there, that's when she went to Daemon and she's like, hey, my husband and I were on the same page, let's kind of concoct this scheme together. So in my head, I thought that Lenore was always in on it. But I guess like, if it's the other way though, it kind of takes away from Rhaenyra, because I'm like, I don't see Rhaenyra wanting to kill Lenore. Like, she seemed to actually care about him. She's like, these are not even your kids, and you actually still love them as your own. So I don't know. I think it's the latter. I think they got Lenore in on the plan, and then everyone lives happily ever after. You get Rhaenyra with Daemon. They get their Targaryen wedding, and then Lenore runs off with Carl to islands unknown with gold, and that's all they need.
That's all
and
they
he shaved
need.
His, and he shaved his head.
I was definitely team Carl brought Lenore in, but then you reminded me of Daemon slitting that guy's throat, so that makes me think everybody was involved. And I definitely think Rhaenyra had a follow-up conversation saying, hey, this life doesn't suit you. You know, I understand you love these kids, but you weren't there. You weren't there many times when you needed to be there, you know? So I'm giving you this out. I'm giving you this opportunity. Just go be free and not, you know, plague yourself with this guilt for not being there, and just go be free. I got this, you know? And both big moments either way, whether it was Rhaenyra was ready to kill him or just, you know, kind of cut him cold turkey. Both work for her character growth, I believe, you know. Again, capable of depravity, but you know, she said, I don't think Alicent would have. I don't think Alicent killed Harwin
In
and
Cold Blood,
whatnot. So I think when she says that out loud, she questions, "Am I actually able to like kill people as well?" And she probably will down the line. But yeah, Lenore, that's her cousin. You know, not only is that a person, that's her cousin, that's her husband.
Right.
You know, she's gonna rise above. When they go low, she goes high. I mean, they did kill that random servant. So
Oh, that's the only. No matter which theory you choose, someone just
You know,
got.
someone still died. Yeah.
Someone
Damon-
died. He's just walking, minding his own business. He probably got home from lunch, or he's like, "All right, gotta
I
go
am sure
start my
Damon-
shift.
Damon went up to Rhaenyra, was like, someone has to die.
We need a body. There
Yes,
needs to be a
we
body.
need a body. We need a body.
Just,
Hey,
just
it
grab
worked.
Anyone. Grab
But
anyone.
I'll tell you what, the fact that Lenore is alive, I am sure that'll play into it later.
Yeah, that feels like it's a.
Oh, you think it's gonna come back?
It's totally gonna come back.
But they're leaving to lands far off. You
It's
think
gonna come back. I just know it's gonna come back. It is gonna be a problem.
I don't know. Like if they were still sailing, if they were going somewhere like on land, I can maybe buy it. Like, oh yeah, they just need to find him, you know, at some point. However they do it, but they're sailing off. I don't know. To me,
Look,
I
I
think
know
it's
how
done.
it looks.
Yeah,
I know how it looks. I don't know. In the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. There is no middle ground. Lenore is choosing a middle ground. You gotta either win or you're gonna die. So
he technically died. For the
but he's
game.
not dead. I'm telling you, it's gonna
But
come
does the
back.
rule specify that you physically have to be the one that died? Or similar to what Corlys said earlier, your quote, does the name only have to die? Because the name is the only thing that matters. Technically, on the record, the name, Lenore Valerian is dead. And
Correct.
that's in the game. That's technically all that matters. The name is dead. All right.
To Corlys.
But even in history, like he's dead.
Yes, in history, yes, he's dead.
He is gone. Like that was his death. I think he's done. I think it also fits with what Corlys was saying earlier. History remembers the names, whether those names succeed or they fail or they die, however death that they choose, they only remember the names. So the name of Lenore died by someone just came in. Like no one even has answers to Corlys saying,
I mean, in my fucking hall.
how did this happen? Like, what am I paying you for?
Well, what I will say is it does feel, I don't know. I'm similar to Grandmaster Hoop. I'm a little suspicious about, he's alive. What are we going to do with that? Maybe they don't do anything with that at all, and he's just happy and whatnot. But I would be curious to see if it ever does come back around. So.
I'm sure it won't come back. Like however many seasons they do, I'm sure it won't come back until we almost completely forget Lenore as a character. But I think it will play a part because names matter. If somebody knows his name, like
Don't
Carl,
tell anyone.
I'm just saying the name is technically still alive.
The
'Cause somebody
person
knows
is
he's-
alive, not the name.
I get it, but people know he's alive. I'm telling you, it's going to come back.
We'll see.
I think they talked about it this episode. No half measures. That's a half measure. They left him alive. It's full measures or none. It will be a problem later. And Rhaenyra's gonna realize, damn it, I should have killed him.
He should have been the body in the fire. I mean, his mother is going hysterical. Like,
Oh, I feel-
I am so surprised, but well, I mean, not surprised, but like Lenore is like, oh yeah, let's concoct this scheme. My mother's gonna think I'm actually dead though, and they seem to actually care about each other, and he's just happy, like, hey, I get to go with Carl, and my mother's like going ballistic over my death.
Heartbroken. Yeah, right. She just lost both her kids in the
Oh my
span of a
god,
couple of days.
yes. Goodness.
Yes. Again, nobody cares about Lena.
Who's Lena?
You know, you can't even grieve Lena. Now you got to grieve Lenore. So,
My
you know,
goodness.
it sucks. But they're married, like you said. They have a Valyrian wedding, a Targaryen wedding. Their kids are watching. They look like this is weird because that kiss was not a marriage kiss. That kiss was like, we've been boning for some time, children.
Yes. I'm surprised he brought Lena's kids in there as
Those
well.
are his kids.
They're his kids, but like, was this before the plot of Lenore's death?
This is after. They can't get married until he's dead.
It's just weird. Like, I would think from the kid's perspective, it's like our uncle just died, and it just so happens that our father is now marrying his widow. It's one of those things where it's like it needs to be addressed. I get it. It won't be addressed right now because that wasn't the point. It was their wedding. They better raise it again.
I am sure
that was
there's
the
a
weird
bit of a
part.
time gap. I don't think it happened right after.
What happened right? The
Like
wedding?
Lenore doesn't die and they get married the next day. I highly doubt that.
I think it's don't they get married before they set sail to go back home to
You
King's
don't see
Landing?
them set sail.
I thought you did. Didn't they? Wasn't
No,
that when Vhagar
Viserys-
was flying the dragon away?
That's Viserys and them setting sail. That's not Rhaenyra.
Oh, so they haven't left.
No.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Man.
I thought that was a symbol that they all went back home.
No, she's right there watching them leave.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was still within like a 5-minute time span. No.
No, man. No, Lenore
they
doesn't
need-
die. That looks so sus, and they know that would look sus.
But why don't they address it? That needs to be addressed. That
You
goes
need
to the
to.
will
kids.
You need to put it together. You need to put it together.
Put it together. Wow,
will
I got to
say
do
it's
the writer's job.
Well, it's likely that it won't be addressed in the way that you hope because the wedding is also a secret. You notice that was only the kids.
It was only the
who did
kids.
the ceremony and then one maester for a witness. So I imagine however you'd like it to be addressed, it won't actually be addressed in that way because it was not something that was deemed appropriate. In many
I
ways.
don't. Yeah, I don't see it as like the kids going around telling people, but I expect it to. The siblings we should get a scene with the siblings, and they're saying like, "Oh my God, our uncle's dead, and our father married his widow." Isn't that a little sus?
Again,
whatever.
some time has passed. Some time has passed.
You're filling the gap for the writers, but that's fine.
No, I don't think I'm filling the gap. You have to think about how the show moves its timeline. A lot of scenes jump, and it's just you're right. They would find it sus. So I don't think.
It feels
Hey,
like this is going to be pretty similar to the Rhaenyra Alicent thing, where I imagine they thought it was weird. We likely just won't see that interaction because I'm pretty sure, based on the preview, we get another time jump for next episode.
We're getting another time jump.
Oh
This is the
God,
last-
I didn't even see the preview. My goodness.
This is the last we get of these children.
Oh God, season 2 just needs to stop with this. I hope so. Jesus.
Oh, I mean, I guess I'm sure when the actual conflict begins, I think they're gonna stop with the time jumps.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I think the actors that we meet next episode are some of the ones that we'll see for a little bit. So,
Okay,
um,
that's
But
good.
and
yeah, 'Cause
they
the only
look like
people that-
villains.
yeah, the
They
only
look
people
like
that
villains?
get older are the kids. So,
Yes,
You-
every
but-
other actor is here to stay.
But you said they look like villains, the new actors.
Go look
Yeah,
at old
they look like they're mean.
Oh,
Eamon.
okay.
Looks like a straight up villain.
They look
Wow.
mean.
Wow.
Yep.
Great.
So, but yeah, that's it for these kid actors.
They did a good job.
I like how I forgot to mention. Rhaenyra said, "I cannot face the Greens alone."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Greens. Now it's the Greens, the High Towers. It's coming to a head.
Oh, is that what she was
Uh,
referring to with the greens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Greens is
Yes.
the
Okay.
black.
I was like, why'd she say that? Oh, okay. Now it makes
Mhm.
sense.
Again, we know there's a conflict brewing. This was another piece in that conflict as far as the factors. It was a good episode. I like this. This all took place in like one day, so I like episodes that are very condensed but deliver so much. So very excited to see what comes next to this. Any final thoughts?
No, it was a really good episode. I thought the snowball and the mess that it culminated into was really good. I was at the edge of my seat. I was literally like, I saw myself like, wow, I'm really at the edge of my seat right now watching this showdown between Allison and Rhaenyra going down. They're throwing accusations at each other. He said, she said. It was really good. But my biggest problem was the Corlys stuff with the dragon. It not being addressed. It was just a major omission, and it could be addressed in next week's episode. Maybe there's a conversation that's had like, oh yeah, they stole the dragon, but it really needed to be in this episode, because right now I'm left like, well, damn, you had a really good plot going here, but why the hell is it missing its legs with this? But overall, still a really good episode.
Dr. Rika, any final thoughts?
Yeah. R.I.P. Lena. Wish we had more of her.
We completely forgot about
We forgot about her too. Gosh darn it.
That was intentional. That was very intentional.
Yeah. Very
Goodness.
sad.
R.I.P. Lena.
Yeah, R.I.P. Lena. This was a mess. Yeah. In funerals, they tend to bring out a little something in most people. Usually grief, but in this case, mess. Mess, lost eyes, blood spilled, fake deaths, secret weddings.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a death at a funeral with Chris
I was
Rock
just about to
and-
say that. We should have called this Death at a Funeral. Yep.
Could be the
or-
episode name.
Messy Death at a Funeral Wedding.
Yeah,
there you go.
shit.
Right.
Well, I'm looking forward to the continued mess. Every Sunday we know we're gonna get it.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Every Sunday. But R.I.P. Lena.
R.I.P. Lena. R.I.P. to the servant boy who deserved better.
Oh my God, the NPC. He just died for no reason.
But yes. Well, there you have it, folks. That is it from us here at the Yonko table, talking about House of the Dragon, episode 7, Driftmark. Make sure you tune in with us next week, as we will, of course, be covering episode 8. Thank you for listening on your various podcast stations. And if you're not, please be sure to follow us on our various social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you definitely follow us on Twitter. Before we really take off, you definitely want to say you were on the wave. And of course, if you ever want to join the discourse you hear on our show, please join our Discord in the link below. We'd love to hear from you, whether or not you believe that Lenore will come back in the future, or if this is the last we'll see of him. We'd love to hear your thoughts, or just about everything. Okay, we talk about everything every day, so love to hear from you. But with that said, folks, we're gonna go ahead and try to tame a dragon in the middle of the night. I'm your Yonko host, Grandmaster Hoop, fellow Yonko, Dr. Jason Turney, and Supernova, Dr. Rika. Signing out. Take care.